But that's great.
You was after Steve then.
After Steve?
Steve Worley, he was president first, wasn't he?
Well, Steve Worley is the director from Texas.
Yeah.
And he's always been a director on the descendant organization. But the first president was Kate Robbie. It's a woman from Colorado. And then I followed her for 6 years.
Yeah.
And now the president is Val Rios. Have you met him?
No.
Yeah, he's a young man from California. So.
Yeah.
Now, were you did you go to any of the reunions, like French Lick or any of those places?
Well, I was at French Lick, yeah.
Yeah. That was my first reunion, too.
That was not too awful far from where we live.
Was that near where you live? That's lovely in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great reunion. Remember when they had the thing at the dinner, and the women, and they had at the closing dinner, and they had them walking across the platform? They had their uniforms on, and I don't know, I guess it was like a costume walk or something. Remember that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, because you know Harold Lum? I think he's from your chapter. Well, Harold Lum's daughters were all dressed as Leadville floozies.
No.
Some people there was a husband and wife who had the woman had her wedding gown on and the man had on his uniform. So, could you fit into your uniform?
Yes.
You could? Great. You know, many of the men had their uniforms on at that.
It might have shrunk a little bit, but
Your uniform.
it's not bad.
Now, are you ready for us to start?
Yes.
Okay. So the way this is going to work is that I'm going to ask you to give your name and your current address, and you talk about your unit and how you got into it. You know, just some basic information of your background, and then I can ask you some questions, or you can just recall things that were important to you. And if you get kind of stuck, I can ask you some questions that will sort of get you thinking. So we'll start off first of all with what is your name?
My name's John Hale.
Could you spell that for us, please?
Hill. Not that hard, but it'll be surprised how many people
John.
get it wrong.
And what is your current address?
I live in Charleston, Illinois.
Okay. And what was your unit? All of your units?
I was in 10th Antitank.
Okay. And was it always the 10th Antitank?
No, we started out 727th Anti-Aircraft.
And then it went into the...
Well, then it went on into 10th Anti-Tank. And really, that was, when we got in combat, we was 10th Infantry Machine Gun Battalion, if you want to name it.
So you weren't anti-tank when you got to the war?
No.
What happened? Could you explain that?
We didn't have any tanks. Germans didn't have any tanks.
They were in the mountains.
If we did,
yeah.
the Air Force took care of them. Or, well, just never seen any, really.
So then what did you go into then?
Well, I stayed in there as machine gun.
And who were you attached to then?
We had 50 caliber machine guns. Well, we were attached with different regiments wherever they needed us.
And so where were you attached?
Well, we were up on the Riva Ridge with the 86 was up there. Went up there and stayed about 9 or 10 days. Did finally get off. You may think that's not funny, but I do.
So you were up on Riva Ridge with the 86.
Yeah.
And then where did you go after that?
Oh, we just went down the line. I don't know.
So
Finally got to Iola sometime later, but there was, after they took Riva Ridge and Belvedere, well, then we sort of took some smaller hills.
Right.
Went down the line. It wasn't that simple. So we just went down through there.
Yeah, that was through March. Wasn't it through March of 45?
Yes, yes it was.
And when you were with machine guns, and you were attached to a unit, you would just say you were attached to a company. You had the heavy machine guns that you used, and did you have to carry them around?
Yeah.
And weren't they heavy or?
Yes, they were 50 calibers.
And so, how did you do that?
How did we carry them?
I mean, was it something you carried on your back, or did you have?
Oh yeah, we picked them up and carried them.
Picked them up and carried them. Well, what did you do for the final push? You know, in April, when they did the final push out of the mountains
Yeah.
down to the Po, could you give us kind of what you were doing during that time?
Well, we when we took off, that was quite a thing. That morning of the 14th, I think it was the 14th.
I think they jumped off on the 14th.
Yeah.
And who were you with at that time? Who were you assigned to?
Well, we just out by ourselves, really. We just pulled back the night before, and we sat up there. And next morning, why, it was nice and quiet, and the sun was coming out to shine. And I started writing my, who later became my wife. I started writing her a letter, you know. And I remember writing down, you would know that there was a war within 100 miles from here, because it wasn't nothing. Birds were singing, quiet, and then all of a sudden, my airplane showed up and started bombing, and then artillery opened up, because we knew the artillery moving up close. We knew it was coming.
Now, was this when they were up there in on the 13th and 14th where Dole got hit, or was this the final push on the 19th and 20th?
No, this was starting the final push.
So it would have been like the 19th and 20th when they went across Highway 9 into the Po Valley?
Well, no, this was just 4 days before that.
Okay, so it would have been up there in still up in the hill towns.
Yeah.
And so what would you have done? You know, you said the aircraft were going over. So what would have been your actions for the next couple of days?
What's my action?
Yeah, I mean, what would your group have done? I mean,
well, we didn't. We just moved up with took our machine guns and got hit with mortars, and a few things, and finally got up and set up along the line. Just sort of held the line there for I don't know how long, through the night anyway, to the next day, and captured a few Germans, whether they want to be captured or not.
now who was your who would have been the person that would have been your commander for this?
Company commander,
Yeah.
Goodfellow, Frank Goodfellow.
What was his name?
Frank Goodfellow.
His name was Goodfellow. Okay.
Yeah.
And so would he have been? People would have been calling orders into him. How did that work? Did he tell you where you were supposed to be?
Oh, yeah. He just, we're going up this way. So we went up that way, went up the hillside, and we got hit quite a bit with mortars going up the hill. Got some guys hit. Finally made it up top before the day was over. Actually, I tell you, when you're in combat, things get so messed up, you don't know really what's going on. Mm-hmm. In fact, at times I got to thinking, hey, everybody's went home, we're out here by ourselves.
Well, did you have a lot of injuries in your group?
Well, not an awful lot. We had about 6 or 7 killed in our platoon, and maybe twice to 3 or 4 times that many wounded. Mm-hmm. Some of them serious and some of them not so serious. My platoon sergeant, he got hit the first day and he didn't come back till the war was over. Mm-hmm. He's back in the hospital all that time. Mm-hmm. But he had shrapnel on his face, they never did get it all out.
Mm-hmm. Now, were you wounded at all?
No.
Now, what do you attribute that to? Is it because you were faster than everybody else?
God just looked after me. That's all.
And do you believe that God did look after you?
Well, yeah, I didn't get hit.
Yeah. And so when you went into that final push, when they made the big push on, I think it was the 20th, when they jumped off up there on the top of the mountains, and they went down through Highway 9 and they headed towards the Po, and they were supposedly moving so fast. Now, they were chasing the Germans. So what did you do at that point? Because you had this heavy equipment.
Yeah, well, we just took it with us.
Did you walk? Or?
Yeah, most of the way. And we got trucks. Trucks showed up with us after we got about quarter of the way across the Po Valley. Uh-huh. And they took us clear up to the Po River.
Oh, they did. So you didn't have to walk. It's a good distance.
Well, it's quite a ways. Then we got across the Po River. Why, trucks eventually got across the river. See, they built a bridge or two. And they put the bridge in while they got across. And then picked us up and took us on north, up along by Lake Garda.
Now, how did you get through those tunnels at Lake Garda?
Well, we went up there, we just got up to them. We didn't have any fighting in the tunnels.
Okay. And how about, did you ever do any of those ducks? Because
We crossed the Po River on the ducks, on the Army ducks.
you did the Army ducks. You know, one of those ducks went down.
Yeah,
Do you
I
know
know.
anything about that?
Well, what I've heard about it, it went down and I think 25 guys drowned.
Yeah. Weren't some of them anti-tank?
No?
No.
Well, we had some guys from the anti-tank went over to the artillery battalions as machine gunners to help protect them, if I can use that word. And they might have been there. I don't know whether they am drowned in that or not.
Yeah.
But that water, Lake Garda, was so cold. You just couldn't believe how cold it was. Because we thought, boy, we get out here, we're going to finally get a bath. Because here we've been going for 2 weeks or 3, and tanks come along stirring up dust and trucks, and you're walking and swaying. Golly, the water was so cold. We went out on a little old boat. Dived off the boat, and I thought I'd paralyzed before I could get back in the boat.
Well, what did you do for clothing then? If you
We wore clothes.
same clothes that you had on before?
Yeah.
Okay. Did they ever give you? How did you get clean clothes?
Well, they had shower units set up. They'd set them up along a little stream, and they'd heat water, and they had these shower units, and it sort of got their idea for car wash. And you go down the line there, but you take your clothes off and put them all in a barracks bag, and they'd give you a number and put it around your neck. You get the other end, why, you get your clothes out of the barracks bag, and you had a shirt, you tell them the size shirt, and they give you a clean one, or pants and everything. You end up, all you had originally was your shoes.
So you got all new clothes.
You know, you're stretching that word new. We got clean clothes.
Well, it would have been clean clothes. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. We got clean clothes. And did anybody have trouble with them fitting or anything like that?
Fitting.
You know, that length? I mean,
No, if you tell them what size you're wearing,
oh, so they could do that.
and they'd throw you out another pair that size. And you know, if there's anything really wrong with it, well, you just throw them back and they throw you out another one.
But you got to keep your boots.
Well, yeah, keep your shoes. We had combat boots.
We sort of skipped over Hale. Were you at Camp Hale?
Yes, it was.
Is that when you entered the 10th?
Yes, I was there before the division was activated.
Oh, you were. Could you tell us about how you got into the 10th? We're going to sort of go back a little bit.
That was a great way where I got in it. I was drafted into the Army. In fact, at the time I was drafted, you could not enlist in anything, Air Force or anything, Navy or anything. You had to wait. You was drafted, and then you select what service you'd like to go into.
And how old were you, and where were you coming from?
18, and I lived in Illinois, and we was all 18, and we went to at Camp Hale in California, where we took basic training, and it was an anti-aircraft. And like I say, we were all 18, down the barracks. But then after we got our time in, I don't know, forget now, I think it's 13 weeks, why you graduated, big graduation, you know, let's say, okay, now you're gonna go someplace else. So they sent, I think 59, we got on a train. Of course, we didn't have any idea where we was going, and we ended up in Camp Hale.
What was your impression of Camp Hale?
I wanted to get back on the train and leave.
Why was that?
Well, I got off the train. They're in the mountains. I'd never been in mountains. In fact, first train I ever rode was when I went in the Army.
Really?
And we went all the way to California. But then I got off there, well, you know, it was sort of dreary steps out there. Of course, reality is beautiful, and, trees and everything, but we didn't look at it that way.
No, yes, you didn't. And so did they? So when you got off the train, just as a point of interest, you got off the train. What did you do from that point? Do you remember?
Well, yeah. First thing they did was they picked us up in trucks and took us to the barracks. And the first thing they start doing is saying, "Don't run. Don't run up the stairs, or don't run in the building. Don't run." We was at 9,300 feet, and here we came from California. We was right down the coast. And the reason I think I got sent there was they asked you when you went in the Army, a bunch of dumb questions. And they said, "Well, what do you do for, recreation or thing like that?" And I said, "Well, I ice skated. I like to ice skate." And I think that's the reason I got sent there.
Now, what did ice skating have to do with your training?
Well, just spoke them was cold.
Oh, okay.
You didn't know those dumb sergeants. They just go down the line there. "Hey there, Cindy."
Ice skating, ice cold. So that's what they. Do you know that there were?
I just guessed that. I don't know.
Did you know there were professional ice skaters at Camp Hale? Did you ever see any of them?
Well, yeah, there was no place for them to skate.
Yeah, they came from. They were professional skaters. One of them, I think they were in the 85th, but they were training out there in Colorado. Got stuck in. I just thought maybe you knew of some of them.
No.
No. Well, okay, so now here we are. We're out. You're out in the barracks. You're told not to run. Do you remember who your officers were at the time?
Oh, well, we had a guy from, he was from Illinois. He was a captain, and he had taught in OCS, and this was the first time he'd been out of OCS, and he's a captain, and they finally got rid of him.
They got rid of him.
We was glad to get rid of him.
And did you, because as an 18-year-old kid, and how old would the captains have been?
Oh, Captain Goodfellow, who replaced Neiman, he was probably 32, 33.
And how did you look at him as a 32-year-old young man?
Well, he wasn't young, he was an old man.
When you think back now, how old are your kids? Any 32?
Which what?
How old are your kids today?
Oh, I got them 50 and 60.
50 and 60. So this man was 32 years old, but you thought him as old.
Oh yeah, we called him Pop. We said that old.
and so what was discipline like?
Well, there was nothing wrong, especially after Goodfellow came into the outfit. Well, things was much different. He was a reserve officer in artillery, or reserve or National Guard. In fact, he stayed in. Eventually became, I think, a colonel before he retired.
Do you have any idea what date this was that you arrived there in Camp Hale?
Yes, it was about June 8th.
June 8th of 1943.
43.
So then you were there a couple months before this D-series, this infamous D-series.
D-series.
The D-series. You were there for the D-series?
Yeah, but that was...
A year later?
Yeah, the next year.
Well, we're at Camp Hale. You're 18 years old, and you were being trained to be a soldier. What did you do for recreation? Did you ever get time off?
Yeah.
How often and what did you do?
Well, I saved up my money and everything, and about once every month or 6 weeks I'd catch a bus and come down to Denver.
And what did you do in Denver?
Walk up and down the streets, be free, do whatever you want to.
And where would you stay?
Oh, they had hotels, not necessarily hotels. People had houses. They had rooms like for $1.50 or $2 a night.
You're kidding? $1.50, $2 a night?
Yeah.
And what did you just do? Walk the streets, not having to have any sergeants tell you what to do?
Well, we're glad not to have that.
And how long would you have for leave?
Have to leave.
How many days would your leave be?
Well, we get off Friday noon, and maybe it was Saturday noon, and we have to be back in by 6 o'clock Monday morning.
Oh, 6 o'clock Monday morning.
That's from here to Camp Hale.
And how did you get to Camp Hale by 6 o'clock in the morning?
I'd take a bus. Buses would drive out of here. They patched all of them together, would get them to run.
Did you ever miss your 6 o'clock time back?
No, I never did.
So you were very punctual and on time.
Yeah.
Did you ever get into trouble at Camp Hale?
No, not really.
So you did what you were supposed to do. Do you remember your first Christmas there?
Yeah, I remember first Christmas in the service. Actually, we were down in Fort Bliss, Texas. Just went in town and stayed at USO overnight.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't much you could do back those days.
So you were on leave.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about the D series. What did you do during the D series?
Well, I didn't do much of anything. I got a frozen toe, and that sort of took care of most of the D series. That's how I got a frozen toe, was during the D series.
And so you weren't up in the mountains, you were at the hospital?
Yeah.
So?
Well, I was up in the mountains still. They decided that my toe was going to rot off. They didn't do something about it.
So then, right after that, well, a couple months after that, you ended in Camp Swift.
Well, yeah, that summer went swift, yeah.
And so, did you like that better than Camp Hale?
Well, some things were better. It was awful hot. After being up here in the mountains and head down there and get off a troop train, and hot as all get out.
Well, did you get used to the cold up in Camp Hale?
Well, pretty well.
Did you learn to ski?
No.
No.
As a machine gunner, they said you can't ski.
Okay. Are you a skier today?
No, I have skied a little bit, very little.
Uh-huh.
But I would love to have skied.
Yeah. So you would have liked it. Well, tell us about Camp Swift. What were the good things about Camp Swift, and what were the bad things?
Oh, only good thing about it was it's a little closer to town, Austin. You're going to Austin, but here again, you know, back those days, as a serviceman, you went to town, there was nothing really you could do. Because the first place, you haven't got a short time off, and what are you going to do when you get there? So we'd go in town just to walk up and down the streets and see what's going on, if there's anything to see. I didn't drink. A lot of guys go to town to get drunk, but I never drink, so I didn't do anything like that. Maybe that's how I didn't get in trouble.
Well, did people take you into their homes, befriend you?
No, not really.
No.
I think they would have, but, you know, no.
What was the worst thing about Camp Hale?
Worst thing about Camp Hale? Camp Hale.
Explain that.
No, the worst thing about Camp Hale was just the fact that you was way up in the mountains and sort of isolated.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant Camp Swift. What was the worst thing about Camp Swift?
Camp Swift, well, down there you was, down there with all the mosquitoes and the heat. Wasn't much you could do. We could go in town. Well,
would you rather have been off fighting in the war?
Until I got there.
Oh, that's interesting. Because you hear that the men wanted to go to war.
Pardon?
You hear that the men were disappointed because they were at Camp Swift and not over fighting.
Yeah, that's right. We felt that Eisenhower did us a dirty deal when they invaded France and we weren't there.
You weren't there.
But that's the reason I'm here today, because I wasn't there.
Do you want to get that?
Oh. I know that now.
That you felt that you had a dirty deal?
Well, if you're in your service, then why you complained about everything.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
When did you finally find out you were going overseas?
No.
Well, the battalion commander came out and they had give you an alert.
Who was your battalion commander?
Cortez,
Okay.
Colonel Cortez. And he came out and read this thing, and it was a standard procedure. And they was alerting you that she was going to be shipped overseas. So we knew that, you know, coming. We didn't know when, but it's coming one of these days.
Well, so did you go right from Camp Swift to Camp Patrick Henry?
Patrick Henry, yeah.
Yeah. Did you get leave or anything?
No,
No.
we couldn't even. We was really pinned down when we got there. Couldn't even write a letter home, tell where we was at.
So what was it like on that train ride? Do you remember it?
Oh yeah, just got on train, day coaches, and away we went.
Was it just only servicemen on the coach?
Oh yeah.
Or wasn't it civilians?
No, oh no.
So then you
There was some, yes, there was some civilians. Come find out there was FBI agents
Oh.
riding along with us.
Well, someone said along the way that the civilians would come out and give you food and things like that. Did that happen on your train?
No,
No. So you get to Camp Henry, Patrick Henry,
yeah,
and you get on the boats and you head over to Italy. Do you know you're going to Italy?
no.
When do you find that out?
Well, they passed out some little books. In fact, I've still got one. And it had Italian language.
Oh.
Is it like a dictionary?
Uh-huh.
And when we got that, we thought, hey, I bet we're going to Italy.
And what was it like on the boat, on the ship?
Oh, it was this huge ship, about almost 6,000 people on it. And that was a serviceman.
How did they manage that?
How'd they manage it? Well, just
Did you
easy.
eat and sleep? And
Well, they had bunks along a wall like 8 foot high, and there's 6 bunks. They folded down, and you get in there, and you slide in there, like sliding into on shelves, and you slept there.
and so you get a good night's sleep?
Oh yeah,
And then what did you do during the day?
walked around the boat and had exercises sometimes. Walked up and down through the boat, and that was it. Well, we did do, we got to pull KP going over. Because we pulled KP, we got to eat 3 times a day, where the rest of them only ate twice a day.
You got to eat 3 times a day?
Yeah.
And what kind of food would you eat?
Well, it was pretty good old GI food,
Did
best
you
I
like
can
it?
remember.
Did you like the GI food?
That's all we could get.
But did you like it?
Always out, it's all right.
What do you specifically remember about something that you ate? Is there any food that you thought that was good?
Oh, yeah, depends on your cooks. We had some cooks that was pretty bad. Well, they never seen a kitchen till they got in the Army. And then we had a couple more cooks. In fact, one of them's here, the reunion.
And what's his name?
Vass, Hassel.
Hassel Vass.
Yeah,
I know him.
yeah. He was mess sergeant.
And what did he cook that you liked?
Oh, he just cooked whatever was come down the line. They give you, they give the kitchen. They were passed out of rations, and that's all they had. They cook it up and give it to you. Nothing else. They just made stew. And then,
So you got? Did anybody get seasick? Did you get seasick?
yeah, I got seasick. About everybody did.
Was that your first time on a ship like that?
Oh yeah.
That was your first time. So when you landed in Italy, do you remember where you landed and what your impression
In
was?
Naples.
In Naples, and what was your impression of Italy?
Well, it was. We knew when we went in there things were sort of bad. There'd been a ship that sunk there in the harbor. One thing that we sort of comical, in a sense, was this guard or policeman, I don't know what he was, but he was chasing some guy in a ship over there, right next to us. And we were sitting there watching, and we'd see this old boy run around, and here comes the guy after him. We seen he caught up with him, he shot him.
Oh, we shot him.
Yeah, and when he did, well, he just turned around and left. And later on, they came in and got him. That was Italy.
It was Italy. This is what Italy was like. So when you landed there, Naples, how did you get from Naples up to...
We went by truck.
You went by trucks.
Some of the guys went, they went on boat, went up the coast.
But you went by truck.
We went by truck.
How long did it take you to get to where your camp was?
Just 2 days, I think.
2 days. And you just run the truck the whole time?
Yeah.
Or did they stop at night to let you sleep? And eat?
Well, the first night was in Rome, and we was out running around that night. You thought all we ever did was run around. Well, you know,
Sounds like you ran around more than I thought you did.
well, we'd never been any place like that, so we wanted to look at Rome as much as we could.
And what do you remember about Rome?
Well, not a whole lot. We went by the Vatican, well, you see it in film, the walls knocked down, you know, and comes around there. It's a circle building.
Yeah.
We drove out by that, and then we stopped and we stayed overnight. It was some of the Italians, Mussolini had fixed up these buildings. They had statues in them and just that and the other, and we just stayed in there.
That's where you slept?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the concrete floors.
Concrete floors.
Oh, we had a blanket.
Oh, you did. And so, and Hassel's still cooking for you?
Yeah.
Hassel Voss is still cooking for you. Then you got in the trucks and headed out to up by the
We went on north
yeah.
and went up to a staging area and stayed there 2 or 3 days, 4 or 5 days.
And then you left there and went, beginning of February, you went over towards the mountain areas when they were going to start the...
Yeah.
And because where did you stay? It was outside of Vidichatico someplace, wasn't it? It was a big old estate that you stayed in?
Yeah.
Because I actually have a picture of that. And so how long did you stay there?
Oh, I don't know. We was there for 2 or 3 weeks. Actually, it was it's from where we was at to the German lines is all open.
Yeah.
The Germans never came down there, but it was open all the way up.
It wasn't River Ridge like up north of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I recall seeing that on a map.
North and east.
So then when
I think.
So then that was when you went up River Ridge with the 86th.
Yeah.
And did you have many injuries with your group from that?
Oh yeah, we had.
River Ridge, because they came down on the tram, didn't they? They're injured?
Well, yeah. They put the tram in and brought down the wounded guys off of there.
And you were never wounded?
No.
No.
I rode it down once.
Why did you ride it? What was that all?
Well, the Brazilians was going to come up to relieve us. So company commander sent me back down to lead them up. So I walked down there and I had the tram there, so I just rode the tram down and walked back up with the Brazilians. It was like leading a bunch of monkeys.
And why was that?
Well, first of all, there's only one in the bunch that could speak English. He was a lieutenant, nice enough guy. We went up, and so we stopped, you know, during the night, because we started up there during the night. And so he said, well, we'll just stay here tonight. I said, well, I've got to go on up top of the mountain because they're expecting me. Tell them where we're at and we'll be on up. So I took off, went on up, told them where we was at and we'd be on up in the morning. So next morning I went back down there and there they were. They had went into these, they just put down their packs and went to sleep there on the ground and didn't have a guard out or anything. We just felt, I can't believe this. And you know, the Germans could have came right on over and been come right down there. You know, if they happened to have a patrol out, which they did at times. Well, I just seen them there. You could have shot up a bunch of them if they wanted to. They probably wouldn't have.
They would.
Because the repercussion to it.
Well, when you When the war was over and you came home, did you come home right away with the 10th?
Yeah, I came back with
And
it.
did you stay with them? Did you, when you
Yeah.
took the boat home, where did you go from there?
Well, see, we came back. Well, they were sort of getting us organized there in Italy. Then the Tito, they moved into part of Italy, and they sent the 10th Division up there to encourage him to move back.
Did you go up there with them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and of course we knew what was going on, and went up there, and the Yugoslavians didn't put up a fight. They sort of, they was way outnumbered if they tried it, because there's 3 American divisions and at least that many British divisions up there. And we stayed around there for, I don't know, it's July, I guess. And they came out and said, well, we're going back to States. But the whole truth of it was we was coming back here, and it's going to take us, I don't know, Pacific. And so we came back here, and they gave us 30 days furlough. And while I was home, they dropped the atomic bomb. No, they dropped the atomic bomb before we came home. So the war ended, and then they didn't know what to do with us. Finally, they let us out of the Army.
And you went home.
That's right.
And when you got home, what did you do?
Well,
What's the first week, what did you do?
well, I got married before I got out. After I found out that I wasn't going to go on the Pacific.
So the first thing you did was get married.
Well, that happened about that time. But if I'd have gone on the Pacific, I'd have never got married.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Why would you not have gotten married?
Because it'd be going to the Pacific and going back into combat. You might live through one, but you're not going to live through two of them.
Yeah. And I understand that where the 10th was going to go was treacherous.
Yeah.
It was,
Of course, we didn't know that at the time, but
yeah.
but then when then the war ended, why? Things changed.
So you got married. Now, when you look back over your experiences, the time that you spent in the 10th, what was the best thing about the 10th? What was the thing that that made you the person that you are?
When I got out,
When you got out?
Yeah.
What your experience? Did your experience do to anything help you become?
well, the men that was in it, she gets so well acquainted with them. Still to this day. In fact, one, he'd been here, but he died about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I got a call from his wife. But you get well acquainted with the people. And you live with them and with them for that long.
So you say it's the friendships.
Yeah.
What was the worst thing about the 10th? I mean, what was the worst thing about your experiences? Something that would have been detrimental to you as a person?
Well, I can't really think of anything. Of course, when we was in combat, sort of rough times. Not every day, but a lot of days. You're being shelled and under fire, makes you do a lot of thinking. Whatever you're going to think about.
What do you think about those men that didn't come back? Do you ever think about them? And what's your thoughts on that?
I was up there yesterday to the Tennessee Pass. Not very nice.
Well, if you had to give a young 10th Mountain soldier, a young 10th Mountain Light soldier who was going into battle to Iraq or to Afghanistan, if you had to give him anything to carry with him, any words of wisdom that came from your experience, what would you tell him?
Keep down. Keep down. Keep your head down.
Keep your head down.
That's all you can do. You find out all the rest of it pretty quick.
Was there anything else that you think that you'd like to add that you think is important that should be part of this interview that we didn't touch on?
No, nothing to think of. I've been proud of being in the 10th ever since, but hated every day I was there, in a sense. Well, I didn't hate it because I was in the service. I knew I was in there, and I knew I was going to stay until the war was over. So we just accepted it. And then after the war ended, why, we wanted to get out. But they didn't let us out till they got ready, which was pretty quick. Because they had millions of people wanting to get out of the service, and there wasn't any jobs. Well, not that kind of jobs, you know, that you could put 8 or 10 million people to work. But eventually we got out, which wasn't really too long. So I went back and went to work.
And what did you do?
After a while, I didn't go to work at first. I loafed around for about 6 or 8 weeks. Well, I became a carpenter.
Okay.
And eventually became a contractor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So was this interview as hard as you thought it was going to be?
Is what?
Was this interview as hard as you thought it was going to be?
No, not as hard.
And you actually had some very good things to tell.
Well, I didn't think so.
Was there anything you didn't tell us that you still need to tell us? Any special things that happened? Or
I'll think something about midnight tonight.
You'll think about it tonight. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. I thought you gave an excellent interview. It was very interesting.
Yeah, well, I tell my kids and grandkids, they want to know what I ever did, I have to come here. Because, you know, that's the only way they're going to find out.
Right.
In fact, my 2 sons, they want me to come down here and do this.
Well, I'm glad that you did. Can you see why it's important to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if people need to know, future generations need to know the cost of freedom.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've thought about it because I've been looking back into some things, and people in the Civil War as a family, but we don't know nothing about it. In fact, well, we knew one thing. It was had a great-granddad or great-great-granddad, and he fought for the South. And I was up to my son-in-law's, and his brother-in-law was there from Tennessee. I said, you know that darn great-granddad of mine? And he fought on the South. And Steve said, well, I don't see anything wrong with that. He's from Tennessee. And I just really met it as well, it's sort of shocking that he was on the fought with the South. You don't think about that.
Yeah. Well, I think we can close it up. That was an excellent interview. And let me get that